Good evening. We're going to call the November 4th, 2024 regular town council meeting to order. We have roll call. We do not have the clerk here this evening, so I'll just take care of that. We have all present except for Councilor Merritt and Councilor Parker. All right, up next, we're going to do salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, up next, we have recognition awards and memorials. 2024-948, the proclamation recognizing Officer Ryan Brower. And we have Officer Brower here this evening. Would you like to come up and can read you your proclamation? Councilor Gajewski?
Yes. Office of the Mayor, Town of Groton, Connecticut Proclamation. Proclamation recognizing Officer Ryan Brower. Whereas Officer Ryan Brower was hired by the Town of Groton Police Department on December 18, 2017, and whereas in 2020 he completed his master's degree in emergency management services and went on to complete his K-9 handler training in May of 2021, when he was assigned to K-9 Officer Saber, and whereas Officer Brower is very active in the community, often leading his shift in motor vehicle stops, felony arrests, missing and wanted persons, and narcotic seizures. And whereas his professionalism, leadership skills, consistent positive attitude, and impressive work ethic do not go unnoticed by his supervisors and the new officers that he has become a role model to. And whereas Officer Brower was recently awarded the 2024 MADD Award in his efforts to combat driving under the influence and keeping our community safe. And whereas Officer Brower has been nominated and awarded the 2024 Officer of the Year Award at the Law Enforcement Night on October 25th, 2024, now therefore be it resolved that the Groton Town Council does hereby congratulate Officer Ryan Brower on his receipt of the accolade of Officer of the Year and extends their best wishes for his continued success. Dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 4th day of November 2024, signed Rachel Franco, Mayor of the Town of Groton.
Okay, it is 6:35 and Councilor Parker has arrived. Up next, we have a proclamation for recognizing National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Councilor Bordelon, would you like to take that?
Thank you. Proclamation recognizing National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas while considerable progress has been made in the fight against breast cancer, it remains the most frequently diagnosed type of non-skin cancer. And whereas many of us know someone or have family members who have had or had cancer, and whereas thanks to research and the growing knowledge about breast cancer has led to new therapies and targeted treatments that improve outcomes for many people. It is research that brings hope to the people facing this disease, and whereas knowing what may contribute to breast cancer, symptoms, diagnosis, and treatment are important parts of its prevention. And whereas having affordable access to screening and early detection for all women is essential component in the fight against breast cancer. And whereas during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we stand with our mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, friends, and we recognize all who have joined their loved ones in fighting their battle, as well as the advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who care and hard work gives hope to those living with breast cancer. And whereas by educating ourselves and supporting the innovative research, we will improve the quality of life of all Americans affected by breast cancer and one day defeat this terrible disease. Now there let it be resolved that the Town of Groton Town Council does hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month and urge fellow citizens to become aware of the impact of breast cancer has on our community and to support the fight against breast cancer so that we may someday defeat this terrible disease. Signed, the Mayor, Rachel Franco, Town of Groton. I'd just like to add one missing piece in here, that it also does affect men. So I just didn't want to exclude that men do get breast cancer, and they should be also recognized in here. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have our public hearings, which we don't have any this evening. Then we have receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. This is the portion of the council agenda where the council welcomes comments from the public. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or as directed by the mayor, and if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Town councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation. All presentations shall be made from the lectern and should include the speaker's name and address for the record. Okay, up first, we have Mr. James Furlong.
Good evening, and thank you. My name is James Furlong. I live at 57 Fishtown Lane, in Mystic. On the night of October 14th, a single car hit a tree along Fishtown Road. The crash killed a 14-year-old boy in the car and hurt several other of the passengers. I don't know what caused this crash, and I won't attempt to analyze it in any way. What I do know, can you hear me? I think.
Yes.
Okay. What I do know is that Fishtown Road is dangerous. It is not a country road where you can cruise at high speed. It is twisty and lined with trees and even a school. It is short and blind at the corner of Fishtown Road and Route 215. Very, very blind area. We need to have a mirror there. And we might use one or two others along this road, which is very, very short and very twisty. I know this because I lived 25 years on a road, Fishtown Lane, which runs partially by Fishtown Road. The road is not for speeding or racing, both of which I have seen along that route. The police and public need to treat this dangerous road with, I would say, greater care than they've had in the past. Thank you.
Thank you.
May
Did
I
you have
ask
a
a
clarifying
question?
question?
Sir? Mr. Furlong? You said Fishtown, and I missed the road that you said. Fishtown,
215.
215 needs a light, or it needs a mirror?
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, was it Fishtown and 215 that you were recommending a mirror?
Fishtown Road and 215, yes, the mirror there. There was one at one time, I believe. There was another one a little further up the road, opposite Fishtown Lane, where it was very useful. But I would say that Fishtown, that 215 and Fishtown Road are the priorities.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Furlong was not on microphone, and he did concur that it was Fishtown Road and 215. Is there anybody else that would like to speak this evening?
Good evening. My name is Ian Thomas, 24 Jefferson Drive. And full disclosure, I am a Board of Ed member and also the spouse of Councilor Bordelon. And, I am here as sort of a mix of all three of those two identities, plus just a private citizen who has spoken before this body a number of times about concerns about the way things have been handled or are being handled. And to be honest, I really don't want to be here tonight. I literally do have better things to do. There's a meeting that the Board of Ed is having right now and some data stuff that I should be at, and I will be at here shortly. But having appeared before this body as a designee of the Board of Ed in late June, and then as another opportunity to appear before this body as a representative of the Board of Ed by the invitation of this body on July 9th. Both times led to situations where I was accused of somehow breaking decorum, which I would disagree. However, watching the meeting last week, reviewing this meeting of this body, I was astounded to watch like the last 30, 45 minutes of the meeting devolve into an odd roundtable, which I felt like a certain duality about, because honestly, there's like some of the best deliberation I've seen this body do in quite some time in trying to find a compromise solution to a number of proposed ideas as to like how to allocate some funding for the general fund. However, the body was also operating wildly outside of its own rules, which it emphatically introduced over the past many terms, time restrictions, turn restrictions, and I was honestly confused as to like what was happening. You know, again, coming from the Board of Ed, we do not have time and turn restrictions, and we have great deliberation and often find very suitable compromise solutions because of that. However, you know, this body has made it very emphatically understood that, you know, there's time and turn restrictions, and I was confused on a number of moments. There's some outbursts and, you know, people slamming tables and putting pens down and, you know, speaking out of turn or not declaring whether they're speaking as a counselor or as the chair of the body. So, you know, I just had to express that confusion. I couldn't let it sit. And I don't understand how that went on for so long, and no one called any points of order, no one called any points of decorum, you know, yet my wife asked one question about a comment another counselor made where they referred to another possible comment another counselor made that had not yet spoken on the subject at hand. That was the motion on the floor. And then suddenly that caused an outrage and points of order thrown at my wife, you know, who was just simply asking for clarification for her note-taking purposes. You know, and it was just incredibly ironic to see, you know, that sort of righteous dissension of focus on Councilor Bordelon, you know, in reaction to what is a relatively fair question to ask for note-taking purposes. Yet there were no points of order for anyone else that was, you know, speaking out of turn or taking multiple turns or exceeding time limits. You know, so I would just, again, encourage this body to take a close look at your rules. And, you know, maybe it's time to rescind those rules. Maybe those rules are restrictive. Maybe you're finding the boundaries of your own rules. You boxed yourselves into a point where you can't deliberate to the full detail that you need to for certain subjects. And maybe it's just time to rescind a lot of those restrictive rules and let the body do what it needs to do for the sake of the town. Deliberate, openly, freely, fairly. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak this evening? Okay, not seeing anybody, we will move on. Next on our list is is consent calendar. Counselor Parker, would you like to move this consent calendar?
Yes, I make a motion to approve 2024-945, October 1st, 2024 minutes, and October 8th, 2024 special meeting minutes, as well as 2024-112, the special trust fund contributions. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Parker. Seconded by Gajewski. Are there any comments or questions? Counselor Parker?
Just want to thank everyone that has contributed. I will not list all the names. They are online to be, can be reviewed online, I believe. If I could ask Mr. Burt that? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So I would like to thank everyone that had contributed, and that helps our city, our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Seeing no hands, we will call for a vote on the consent calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. Up next is communication and reports, other than committee reports. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. Just want to remind everyone that tomorrow's election day, and, just make sure you get out and vote. If you have questions or concerns, please reach out to the Register of Voters for any information regarding polling locations or any concerns. And I think that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have nothing to pass today.
Thank you. Counselor Rusk.
Just the same as Councilor Bordelon, Election Day is tomorrow. You can vote from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at your polling location. If you've got a question about where your polling location is, it is the same location that it was the last time you voted. If you don't know where that is, you can look online at the Town of Groton website. If you are not registered and you want to register to vote, you can register to vote same day and vote with the Registrar of Voters office. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just remind everybody, at Thrive 55, the art show that will become a seasonal event, will be starting tomorrow, will run through December 23rd. Some people are looking for gifts, that's a good place to get them. And then on Friday, I joined with the Parks and Rec Department, Thrive 55, for a demo of the Soundscape Community Digital Navigation app that Groton is the the beta tester for the country for this app for visually impaired people. So we had an excellent turnout of Parks and Rec people, quite a few visually impaired people and some other people, and we did the demo with the app. Everybody loaded on their phone, and we used the app to guide ourselves through Cop Family Park, and learn how to do this. So I think it's exciting for Groton as they continue to kind of move this forward and build these trails that they'll have for visually impaired people. So it was kind of fun to do. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor McBride.
Thank you. I just wanted to commend the Registrar of Voters on the terrific work they did. I did vote yesterday, and I found the process to be very smooth, and they really did a great job, although it seemed like they were definitely overworked over the past, whatever that was, week or two time period with the elections, but they did a great job. Also wanted to congratulate the Fitch football team on an amazing victory last Friday. They beat the, I think it was the number 15 team in the state who was 6-0 and kept them in playoff contention. So congratulations to them. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Grasky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Tarzan Brown Road Race yesterday, put on by the Mystic Chamber of Commerce and Kelly Space. It was great, totally revitalized. There was about 400 runners participating in the new 5-mile run along River Road. Really great to see members of our community out there. And then, as my colleagues have stated, please remember to vote tomorrow if you have not already.
Counselor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just going to echo, vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to respond to some of the comments that were made this evening during during citizens' comments speaking for myself. We are a council of volunteers, And we all try our best up here. And on the most part, I believe probably 95% of the time, we stick very closely to the rules and to Robert's Rules of Order. And at times, some things devolve a little bit into too much conversation. And I will say that even myself, I was brought back to that light when Counselor Parker had mentioned it to me and asked whose turn was speaking. And I took note of that and brought it right back to the Roberts Rules and appreciate her questioning that on me. I think we're all doing the best we can up here. There's a lot I could say right now, but I think at this time, it would probably be best that I don't. So we'll move on to the next item. Clerk of the Council is not here. Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting is not here. Town Manager Byrd.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Variety of things tonight. Downtown Mystic, we currently have one camera downtown. It's a very old camera, not very operational. I'm going to put in for CIP in the new budget. We've had increases in different issues in downtown Mystic. We need to have a more robust camera system down there. So I'll be looking at that. The software for parking enforcement that the council had approved prior went into effect about 2 weeks ago. I think Chief Pissarro said we have already issued about 40 tickets using that new system, so off to a good start. Early voting, as of this morning, there were 6,475 early votes casted and 1,342 returned absentee ballots, so a total of 7,817. As a reminder, I think it was, what was the amount last time? It was 17,800 or so the last 4 years ago. So that's a pretty vote. It's over 40% of the population likely voting. Let's see. The RFP for Pleasant Valley Former Elementary School will go out tomorrow with proposals due back January 3rd. Human Services, the Thanksgiving holiday distribution day is on 11/22 this year. Let's see, I was asked last time about what are the parameters for the ARPA funds and the General Human Services Assistance Fund. It's based on 275% of the federal poverty level. For instance, a family of four, that would be 85,800. So that's what we use for both those. The Perkins Fund is 100, which is almost gone. 175% of federal poverty level, and Groton Utility Assistance is 200% of the federal poverty level. We did receive notice from Director Fondulis that she'll be retiring January 4th. She's done a wonderful job, and wish all the best to her. And I'll be talking about any potential changes there. Nautilus Dock, all materials are on site and it's being constructed now, so getting into the end, it should be done this month. Litter vacuum vehicle that was recently approved has been ordered. We hope to have it by spring. Just to tell you kind of time frame, we just received a flail, the mower with that flail on it. That took 18 months to get. So these things are not fast. We're hoping for the spring on this. We'll see. Steamboat Wharf, for the facade work is to be done with the safety scaffolding in place. I guess they have an engineer in place. They're just waiting for their permit from the DOT. So they're just about set to go.
Okay,
And that is what I have.
thank you. Counselor Bordelon.
To the town manager, I know I'd reached out to you. I had heard that someone had vandalized the ballot box. Could you just speak to that and what you stated?
Yeah, well, I'd say more it was a sign that got vandalized. Somebody took a sign, one of the political signs, and put it in the mouth of the ballot box. It didn't do any damage to the box. An officer came out, the clerk met with an officer, took a statement, and just checked to make sure there was no damage with anything.
And then the other question, do we have a camera on that box?
We do. We have a temporary camera, but it's motion activated. I won't go into details. It didn't capture this. It captured some other things, but didn't. There's an investigation still ongoing, so that's as far as I'm going to go on that.
Right.
But we do have a CIP, if you recall, in this current budget, to do a permanent camera system for town hall and out there. So I've reached out to Sean at the library to see what the time frame is on that. But I would imagine it'll be in place for the next election.
And my last thing was down at Aquatic Plains Park in the women's room. One of the stalls has like graffiti written on it. I'm not sure if anyone's addressing that.
That's first it's been reported to me, I'll ask about it.
Looks like it could use some white paint to cover it back up. Far stall, a lot of writing, some profanities and.
Okay, I'll send it to Public Works to
Thank
look
you.
at.
Thank you. All right, up next is Committee of the Whole. Mayor Franco, I have nothing to report tonight. Personnel and appointments, Chair Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We will be discussing this as a regular motion. This is the October 16th meeting.
Okay,
Will be coming up.
all right, thank you. Rules, Chair Parker.
No meeting, no report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Chair Rusk.
Just to reiterate what I said last meeting, we had a meeting October 29th to discuss how to fund the ambulance in a fair and equitable manner. We are meeting again November 19th at 4:30.
Okay. All right, on to new business. First is 2024-917-1, Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project. Counselor McBride, would you like to take that?
Sure.
And this
Two-
is, I'm sorry, what page is, page 21 in our packet?
2024-917, Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project. Make a motion, a resolution on Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project, whereas the Groton Board of Education has determined that the Charles Barnum Elementary School roof needs replacement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council authorize the Groton Board of Education to apply to the Commissioner of Education and accept the grant for the proposed project to remove and replace the existing Charles Barnum Elementary School roof, and be it further resolved that the Permanent School Building Committee is hereby established as the building committee with regard to the proposed project to remove and replace the Charles Barnum Elementary School roof, and be it further resolved that the Groton Town Council hereby authorizes the preparation of drawings and specifications for the proposed project and to remove and replace the existing roof at the Charles Barnum Elementary School.
Second?
Moved by McBride, seconded by Bordelon. Counselor Gaius?
I just want to state for the record that I will be recusing myself due to a potential appearance of a conflict of interest.
All right, and just to reiterate, we are in the town council meeting, and this is, all the work has been done on all the items tonight in our committee of the whole, and had full discussions and debate, and decisions were made in there, and we are passing them at our town council with the final vote. All right, seeing no hands, take a vote on 2024-917, Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 7-0. Up next, various appointments and reappointments for October. This is,
Madam Mayor?
yes,
There's 8 of us.
Say it was up there.
there was a recusal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I thought the same thing.
I heard him say that, too.
2024-850-1, various appointments and reappointments for October. This would be Counselor Jones
Do you want to do them
as the chair.
all as one, or?
This is your item. You may take it all at once, or you could do them individually. I would read the whole thing.
Appointments and then reappointments. The 2024-850, various appointments and reappointments for the October 16th personnel and appointments. Resolution making the following appointments, reappointments to authorized agencies, authorities, boards, commissions, and committees. Resolved that the town council appoint the following individuals to the authorized ABCs as noted. The appointment of Ann Whimsy to the Performing Arts Commission as a full member with a term expiring 12/31/2026. So moved.
Second. Are you doing it?
I'm going to do appointments and then I'll do the other ones together. Does that make sense?
Point of information,
Your question?
I'm just curious as to what we were doing. Are we doing them all individually, or?
I was going to do appointments.
It is put into one resolution.
Oh, so just,
Yeah,
I'll just,
just-
okay, all right. Reappointment of Hugh Barton to the Water Pollution Control Authority as a full member with a term expiring 5/24/2026, and the reappointment of John Wisbicki to the Water Pollution Control Authority as a full member with term expiring 5/24/2027. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jones, seconded by Russ. Counselor Bordelon?
Were there any other appointments for Historic District Commission? I know there was an opening there, someone resigned and people applied.
We recused I recuse myself.
Well, I know you guys, you skipped the part where you could give a report because you guys had this line. Are you going to report on that section of the meeting, or,
No, I'm not.
so we're not reporting on the full?
No, I recuse myself from that appointment.
So people did apply to the Historic District Commission? That's what I'm asking.
Well, the motion on the floor right now is the appointments right here that are on our packet. And there's nothing on here for Historic District Commission.
So my question then is there was a section where they were going to give a report and they said, I'm not going to give it now, we'll give it during this, so.
This is what I was meaning by giving.
Right, but then you didn't get allowed for the chance then if it's all not going to go there,
What is your question?
as I just stated?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. When he went through the section where it was time for the committee to report, they said they would report under this item.
Well, he's.
Right, so my point is.
If you have questions on these three
Right, but
people that
yeah.
are being appointed, you can
But it's
question.
limiting, let me finish, it's limiting our ability to ask questions to that committee if we're only now doing it this. Because the other time, when it was up, it was stated that we're not gonna, can I
You're
finish? Let me
debating,
finish.
no, you are debating, you have a point of information, which is one singular question with a simple answer.
So then can we
your
go back,
question.
can we loop back around then
No.
so we can ask our questions?
No,
So we've been
we've
blocked
already
out,
passed it.
basically.
There-
We were boxed out then.
That is inappropriate, and no, that's not
Okay, that's
accurate.
fine.
You
I
could have
just-
asked a question then, but you didn't.
He said, no, we're leaving it to this agenda item.
You could have asked questions then.
Sure. Duly noted.
This is how it's typically done here. We've always done it this way.
Okay. Duly noted. All right. So there were other appointments.
You don't have the
There was-
floor.
Sure,
Counselor Bordelon.
Yeah, so there were other appointments. I assumed that we were going to open it up, as it was stated, we could discuss them under this item, which then didn't happen. So with that, obviously I don't have any problem with this, but I just think if you have a report, the report should be given, and if there was a recusal for whatever reason, that should be part of the report, and if anyone else applied, that
Point
should
of
also
order.
be part of a report.
Your point of order?
That's fine.
We are discussing these names on the floor. We're not discussing a previous item of a personnel and appointments committee report.
Thank you. Please keep your comments germane to the motion on the floor, please.
Well, it is germane to the floor because not all appointments came forward. So, but I respect that. Next time, I'll ask under that item for a full report then, so don't skip through it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any more questions, comments? All right, seeing no more hands, we'll take a vote on 2024-850-1, various appointments and reappointments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. Up next is 2024-873-1, Town Council 2025 regular meeting calendar. Counselor Russ, would you like to take that one?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 2024-873, Town Council 2025 regular meeting calendar. Resolution approving the 2025 Town Council regular meeting schedule. Be it resolved that the Town Council approve the Town Council regular meeting schedule for 2025 as follows. Tuesday, January 7, 2025, Tuesday, February 4, 2025, Tuesday, March 4, 2025, Tuesday, April 1, 2025, Tuesday, May 6, 2025, Tuesday, June 3, 2025, Tuesday, July 1, 2025, Tuesday, August 5, 2025, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, Tuesday, October 7, 2025, Monday, November 3, 2025, Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. All meetings begin at 6:30 PM in Community Room 1, Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, hybrid virtual meeting on the first Tuesday of each month except for November. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Russ, seconded by Gieske. Counselor Bordelon.
I know at the last time we discussed possibly being a primary, we weren't sure of the dates. Do we have that information?
They still have not been released by the Secretary of State's
Okay,
office.
so we will look at that. If there needs to be a primary, we can look at those if it affects our council meeting at all. Has it been released? Have we checked? When's the last time we've checked?
10 minutes ago.
All
I
right.
check again.
So should we put it in here that we will, or it will just be understood that we'll loop back around should we need to if it affects the council time?
I believe if we need to, we can
All right.
change the dates as needed.
Is that correct, to the town, through the mayor to the town manager?
That's how we've always done it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'll just put notes here that we'll wait to see the dates for the primary. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0. Up next is 2024-872-1, Town Council Committee of the Whole, 2025 regular meeting calendar. Counselor Pacino, would you like to take this one?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I was going to skip reading all the dates, but Councilor Russ set the table
No,
for
you
me.
have to read them.
Okay. Item 2024-872, Town Council Committee of the Whole, 2025 regular meeting calendar. The Committee of the Whole recommended the item for resolution at their meeting on October 8th, 2024. Resolution approving the 2025 Town Council Committee of the Whole regular meeting schedule. Be it resolved that the Town Council approves the Town Council Committee of the Whole regular meeting schedule for 2025 as follows. Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. February 11th. Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. Monday, November 10th, 2025, due to Veterans Day holiday on November 11th, 2025. Tuesday, November 2025, and Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. All meetings will begin at 6 PM in the community room. 6:30 PM in the community room, that's the time I show up. In the community room, Room 1, Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, hybrid virtual meeting on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, except in November and December.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Parker. Pacino. Seconded by Parker. Counselor Borland.
And the same for this, if obviously there was a conflicting date with a election time primary, that we would adjust accordingly.
Yes, we would.
Thank you.
Point of information.
Your question?
Once this is voted on, wouldn't we have to vote to move a meeting? If we have voted to make a meeting
Yeah,
on these
this
dates.
is our list that we're sending to the state of Connecticut.
Okay. So if we want to move a meeting, we would have to make a vote to move the
Um,
meeting
Yes, if
Okay.
we knew in advance of a time difference of change.
for a special
Yeah,
meeting. Thank
for a
you.
special meeting. All right, seeing no other hands, we'll call 2024-872-1, Town Council Committee of the Whole, 2025 regular meeting calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. Up next is 2024-871-1, Town Council Personnel and Appointments Committee, 2025 regular meeting calendar. Counselor Parker, would you like to take that one?
Resolution approving the 2025 Town Council Personnel Appointments Meeting, and there's a spelling error. Personnel and Appointments Committee regular meeting schedule.
Be it resolved that the Town Council approves the Town Council Personnel Appointments Committee regular meeting schedule for 2025 as follows. These are all Tuesday dates, so I'm just going to read the dates. January 21st, 2025, February 18th, 2025, March 18th, 2025, April 15th, 2025, May 20th, 2025, June 17th, 2025, July 15th, 2025, August 19th, 2025, September 16th, 2025, October 21st, 2025, November 18th, 2025, and December 16th, 2025. All meetings begin at 5:30 in the Community Room 1, Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road / hybrid virtual meeting on the third Tuesday of each month. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Parker, seconded by Gieske. All right, seeing no hands, we'll take a vote. 2024-871-1, Town Council Personnel and Appointments, Committee of the Whole, Committee 2025 regular meeting calendar. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. Up next. There is, before we read this, I just want to, I think Counselor Gieske is going to be reading it. You may want to add this to the end of the motion that's in our packet, please. It's 2024-921-1, American Rescue Plan Act Funds Reallocation. Counselor Gieske?
Council item 2024-921, American Rescue Plan Act Funds Reallocation. Resolution authorizing the reallocation of excess American Rescue Plan Act funds returned to the town prior to December 31st, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the Groton Town Council hereby reallocates the returned ARPA funds to the following eligible purposes which were obligated prior to the December 31st, 2024. Sutton Park revitalization, $242,246. Town of Groton Housing Rehabilitation and Home Buyers Assistance Program, $200,000. And Human Services Assistance Program, $50,000. And may it be further resolved that John Burr, in his capacity as town manager, be hereby is authorized and directed to prepare and execute on behalf of the town an interagency agreement or memorandum of understanding with each town department or agency managing the aforementioned ARPA projects to confirm the reallocation of ARPA funds to and the total amount of ARPA funds obligated toward each such project. May it be further resolved in the event additional excess ARPA funds beyond the returned ARPA funds already pre-allocated above are returned to the town at any time prior to December 31st, 2026, that the Groton Town Council hereby makes an automatic contingent reallocation of all such additional excess funds to the town of Groton Housing Rehabilitation and Home Buyers Assistance Program for which ARPA funds were previously obligated for eligible uses prior to December 31st. Therefore, be it resolved and refer the item to the RTM per Rule 6.5-3. So moved.
Second, Parker.
Moved by Gieske, seconded by Parker. Councilman McBride?
Yes, thank you. Just a question I had. The additional excess ARPA funds that are going to be returned to the town and put in the Groton Housing Rehabilitation and Home Bar, do we have an estimate on what that number is, or is it a futuristic?
It's a futuristic, yeah, there's no way to know at this point.
So we don't know.
It's too early, yeah.
Okay.
It could be
Thank-
$5, it could be $30,000. I doubt it'd be a huge amount, but.
Yeah, I'm just wondering the checks and balances are, does it come back to this council, or this will make it
No,
automatically
Per
go?
law, it has to be fully allocated by December 31st.
Okay,
You
so
have to
all the
say-
excess. Okay, but you don't expect it to be anything,
Well,
you know, a few
I
$100,000.
can't swear to it, so.
I guess my
expect
question
it.
is more if it's substantial,
It can never come back to the council.
you could bring it back to the
It
council?
cannot,
It cannot.
no. It
So
has
any
to be
excess-
fully allocated by
There would be no
December
time
31st.
to get it through the council and through the RTM.
Well, we won't
prior
know
to-
for a long time after December 31st about, we're talking, probably a year away.
Between now and December, if you're talking about money coming back between now and December,
There won't be
There
significant
w-
money during that time.
yeah. So.
I guess there's not significant money out there, right? Everything's obligated.
Yeah.
So that's I just didn't know if there was an amount that you would estimate it's 100,000, 200, it's,
But after
Everything-
January 1st, we cannot make changes and reallocate anything.
no, I
That's why this is set
understand
up.
that completely. I just wanted
The
to make sure I
current number in
understood.
here is all return funds to date. So there's no return funds that we know of at this point beyond this.
Okay, all right, I'm all set, thank you.
Counselor Bordelon?
I just want to check, will there be an update, though, as to how much is going to the home fund?
Certainly, we could do that, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Again, I'm just going to say that, I'm in support of all of these, but I just think that, again, we've only allocated $350,000 of ARPA money thus far, and only 50 for human services, again, for me, I feel a little uncomfortable with. I know it was stated that later we could reallocate funds from the general fund or this fund, but I just wanted to, through the mayor, to the town manager, couldn't we do that with all these other funds too? We could allocate other monies from otherwhere as well, correct? At any time.
Mr. Pert?
I don't see an advantage to switching this one. There's plenty of other funds out there.
I guess that's not my question, it was stated before that with human services, if we wanted to put money there, we could just, do a transfer from the general fund. We could do that, though, with the other accounts like Sutton Park if we chose to, or the Town of Groton Housing Assistance Program at any time as well.
Well, once you allocate these, whatever you allocate these tonight is the end of it for this, but
That's not
we'd
my
always
question.
planned on contingency funds. I would recommend sticking with contingency funds. We wanted to get a feel for how quickly the new fund in human services gets used, and then we would come to the council and figure out how much we actually need.
Okay, so just like human services, as it was stated when I rewatched the video again, it was stated that we could always allocate money from our other funds into this. We could at any point allocate money to the housing fund as if we chose to.
Sure.
Beyond these numbers later,
Sure.
at
Oh,
one
yeah,
point.
yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So I guess the argument that was proposed is that, well, we can always fund later. We could also give the housing assistance program money at any time throughout. So again, the number for human service to me is very low. I also think that, it should be much higher. Those are just my concerns. Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any more hands. We'll take a vote on 2024-921-1, American Rescue Plan Act Fund Reallocation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0. Up next is 2024-332-8, Blight Ordinance Revisions. Councilor McBride, would you like to take that one?
Certainly. Item 2024-332, Blight Ordinance Revisions. Recommended action is to draft a motion for a resolution to accept revisions to the Blight Ordinance, whereas the state of Connecticut recently passed Public Act Number 23-33, revising sections 8-169AA and 7-148 of the general statutes, and whereas the revisions are suggested tools for enforcement, including reduced assessments, remediation action, and increased fines. And whereas on April 9th, 2024, the Town of Groton Office and Planning and Development Services and the Town Attorney presented a draft of the Blight Ordinance to the Committee of the Whole, incorporating the proposed revisions. And whereas a public hearing was held on October 1st, 2024, to solicit public input on the proposed revisions to the Blight Ordinance, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby adopts the revisions to Blight Ordinance Number 281 as presented to the Town Council on October 1st, 2024.
Second.
Moved by McBride, seconded by Gieske. Not seeing any hands. Take a vote on 2024-332-8, Blight Ordinance Revisions. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0. Up next, 2024-878-3, Street Takeover Ordinance, set public hearing date. Counselor Jones.
Did you have a change?
There was a request for a change from our attorneys on the title of it, but I think that should be amended motion.
Okay.
So,
Item 2024-878, Street Takeover Ordinance, Resolution to set public hearing. Resolved that the Town Council hereby sets a public hearing date for the ordinance to enact additional penalties for participating in street takeovers on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. So moved.
Second, Bordelon?
moved by Jones, seconded by Bordelon. So our attorneys have asked for us to rename it an ordinance to prohibit street racing and street takeovers. Would somebody like to make that a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make an amended motion to rename the ordinance to the ordinance to prohibit street racing and street takeovers.
Second?
Second, Pacino.
Made by Russ, seconded by Pacino. Do we have any comments? All right, so we will vote on the amended motion first. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0 to 0. That was amended by Russ. Pacino. All right, we will now vote on the main motion with the amended motion altogether. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that passes 8-0 to 0. Up next is 2024-876-2, General Fund Balance. This is on page 32. Counselor Rusk, would you like to take this one?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 2024-876, General Fund Balance Resolution. Resolution that the Town Council amends its debt policy and management fiscal practices and increases the general fund's unassigned fund balance minimum to an amount equal to at least 17% of the annual general fund expenditures and makes the following transfer of funds to the Town Capital Reserve Fund. $1,472,887 for Sutton Park Project, $3 million for bridges and transportation, and $900,000 for sustainability and resiliency. I so
Second.
moved.
Second, Pacino.
Moved by Russ, second by Pacino. Counselor McBride.
Just have some comments or questions. I look back at our meeting the other night, and I'm reviewing the goals and objectives of what we did, and I guess I'm confused in terms of, we needed to, per the resolution, and maybe this is through the mayor to the town manager, the current fund balance policy says we need to review anything in excess of 20%. And I'm kind of confused because when we made these changes, and all we did was we upped the bottom level from 15 to 17. We didn't modify the 20% limit, so I guess I'm questioning, we're still well over the 20%, even when we allocated these amounts, and I'm in support of allocation of the amounts. My question is, I think, and I wasn't able to put a motion on the floor, but I thought part of the discussion was, we need to address the upper limits, because we're still outside that 20%, we're at 26%. Even if you subtract out the 4.3 million we allocated, we're still over the 20% by over 5 million. So although we achieved a lot in increasing the floor by 2%, my recommendation would have been to make a target range from the 17% to 25, a overall policy range from 17% to 25 with a target of 21. Therefore, we wouldn't have this issue, because I don't think we resolved, taking care of business of something over 20%, because we're still $5 million over that 20%.
Mr. Burt?
Yeah, I mean, the council did not take action on the upper limit. However, they did say we'd likely talk about the general fund balance at another meeting. So this will come back up. But as of tonight, this is the only thing that was approved, that went through the COW. In order to change that, you would have to take it back to COW.
Okay, and I'll make the point, I can't make a motion, I guess, but I get back to my point during the committee of the whole was, I think if we established a fund balance policy from the 17 to the 25 as a range, not we have to make 25, but it allows us the flexibility to be where we are today at 20, at 24% after you subtract these out. So I think if this council would consider that, it would help save, it would give us more flexibility, both the council and the mayor and the town manager, to increase that by 25, and it doesn't put any pressure on town manager Burt it just gives you more flexibility. So I would have liked to have made a motion at the committee of the whole, because I don't think we addressed the excess above the 20%. So I think you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of
Counselor
information?
Parker, your point, your question?
We, with all due respect, the council was using the word allocated. Are these allocated? Or are these
No,
earmarked?
only the Sutton Park project is allocated. The others are
Earmarked.
earmarked but moved into those fund, into the capital projects fund.
Thank you.
Counselor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my question through you to Mr. Burt. I believe my motion was to say that these would be, one, reserved, I'm going to say reserved. The other two are, one was allocated, the other two were put in the capital reserve for earmarked. And I also said that we can come back to the subject to discuss further for the suggestion of whatever one was going to think about, because not everybody was prepared to give a straight answer or knew what they wanted to do with the excess money. But my question for Mr. Burt would be, well, second question, is how does that work budget-wise if we do 17 to 25%? Does that, what's the flexibility? How does that affect us, bottom line?
Well, first, let me just, actually, as I rethink this, the Sutton Park is not allocated here, it's allocated in
In the
the Sutton
next one,
Park
yeah.
one, yes. They're just earmarked at this point
Okay.
in this one. But, I mean, it's up to the council. It just takes away an automatic trigger and allow, kind of leave it up to the council. I mean, if it stays below 25, when we might bring something forward. It's really just the council preference, it's certainly workable.
It doesn't affect accounting purposes, is what I'm trying to figure out.
No, it'll, either whether it's in capital projects or whether it's under the general fund balance, it'll still count the same towards bond credit ratings. And maybe I'm missing the point here.
I'm trying to figure out what our auditors and everyone else have said. I'm going by what they have stated, that we can do this. I'm afraid about having a range, and we're stuck in that range is something, we may be low. We may hit 17, or a little bit over 17, but that's still going to have to be a discussion to come back to us, correct? So
Yes.
what did the auditors say?
Well, I didn't ask, of course, about a range. I don't see an issue with it, but my preference is as written personally.
Okay,
But I don't see a technical issue with its council purview.
okay, thank you.
Counselor Bordelon?
I think Counselor Rusk was before me.
No, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. I'm just being kind. She did have her hand up. All right. So when looking at this, earmarked or flagged or set aside, whatever the verbiage you want to use, to use this money now, it would have to go through the RTM like it would have to, no matter if we go over an excessive amount, a certain threshold anyway. But in order for the RTM, now, once it's put in here, we'd have to get the RTM vote to move it out. Let's just say we decide we don't need that money in transportation. We have to then get a vote from RTM to help us move it
No.
back into the can I finish before being answering?
You asked a question, I'm answering it.
Can you let me finish, because I wasn't done? Thank you. I'd like to deliberate my thoughts. Because my understanding is they have to vote on a certain amount, so my question is, would that prohibit movement of money in making sure that it, is it gonna make it harder, is my question.
Right. No, it's not actually allocated. The RTM, their purview is expenditures, not revenue, unless you're accepting grants. This is just moving money. You're not expending it. The only thing you're actually going to be expending and going to RTM for is the 1.47 million for Sutton Park. The others are just being earmarked. It doesn't matter whether it's in general fund or capital projects. It'd be the same process.
And my other question would be, what would be the difference of just leaving it where it is and not flagging it, but kind of having an understanding that, we may want to move this later. Like, what's the, just what's the pros of doing it this way?
Well,
Versus like, if you look at your own budget, you're like, hey, I got this much money here, I think I want to get that. So in your mind, you're making a mental note, and you're not moving it into anything in particular. Is there some benefit to moving it this way?
I do think it's a better story for the credit rating agencies that you have a plan for it rather than just sending, once as you earmark it for capital projects, they'll know you're serious about, okay, you're really thinking about capital projects, so I think that's preferred. Whereas I don't see any gain to leaving it. Further gain.
Okay, and then do we have any designated bridges? Well, we know what bridge, but transportation, is there something that what are we flagging this for, like, in particular? Besides, I know about the bridge, but what for transportation?
The council has not made that decision. It could also be for roads, too.
And I'm a full support of sustainability and resiliency. I think more should be going into that, quite frankly. But what in particular are we planning for? Because I guess when you set something aside, you have a plan if you're pulling it from one thing. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what is there, like, I understand that the Sutton Park has a plan, right? So that makes sense. So for resiliency and sustainability, is there something that we're going to allocate this to in particular that we're moving it aside? Or again, is it just for the story for the credit agency?
Well, I would say, because this is the numbers that the council came up with, that if we had looked at the CIP list for future CIPs and a list of all of the resiliency things, there were many that were unknown cost, and they probably would total way more than the 900,000. So it's basically putting some of it in there to begin putting towards sustainability and resiliency.
It's just something, in all the years being elected from RTM and here, I haven't seen it done in this fashion per se, but I guess it's a good problem to have. I'm glad we narrowed it down from 7 down to 3 for now, and then we can come back around the table. But just interesting, and it will be interesting to see how this works out. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want, with your permission, I would like to ask a clarifying question to Councilor McBride. The town council debt policy states that the town council will review anything over 20%. It doesn't say we have to allocate it, it doesn't say we have to earmark it. I understand that the credit raters, or the credit agencies have asked that we consider putting things into earmarked accounts. So my question, with your permission, would be, what is the benefit of the 20 to 25% range?
Well, the benefit starts with, as the information I provided to the council a month ago when we started discussing this, the bond rating agencies clearly said the new times that we have now are different than the times we had in the past, and that the 16.67% or 2 months is not sufficient. So you should be reviewing your policies than what you've had developed already. One of the recommendations they made was just that, not to have, well, one, to go from 16.67%, or one of the rating agencies said to make sure you go between, to receive a AA rating, they said you had to be between 20 and 25%. So that increased 25% would align with the town of Groton's credit rating agency of AA. But more importantly, what GFOA and others are stating is that you shouldn't just have, your policy shouldn't just say a set amount of, let's say, 18% or 19%. It should have a range, and in essence, it's telling you to have a range for your policy to allow you flexibility to do things in case you have a Sandy or something like that. So the purpose of the recommendation I was trying to put forth was to have a range to give the council and the town manager more flexibility from 17 to 25. There's no harm in doing it. It just makes the bondholders and the rating agencies know that that's the range that you're going to act on something if it doesn't go between the floor and the upper level. And with that, having a target as well, but the targeting in is a target, doesn't mean it can't change. So it's just more flexibility and showing them that you're okay if you can go up to 25%. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Mr. Burt, did you want to respond?
Just a reminder again, they're not talking 25% in general fund, they're talking across major funds. And they just want to know you have money to handle these issues, whereas to me, this is a further step of showing that you are serious about handling bridges and resilience and that type of thing. I still think this is, even if you had the range, this is still a good move to move these money to me. And, the range is really a separate issue.
Thank you for your clarification. I agree with everything that we're doing tonight. I do think that this is something that we will need to continue to discuss, like we talked about at our last meeting. I actually agree with Councilor Bordelon that $900,000 for sustainability and resiliency is a drop. And as a coastal community, we're going to need to probably put a lot more money into that account. But the nice thing is that we have the ability to do that over time. So I will be supporting this tonight, and thank you for the discussion. I appreciate the discussion that we had at the last meeting, and to continue on with this discussion going forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Burr, I just want to clarify something. It has been said that we have a range. Now, just my own personal opinion, when I read a policy is something that's sort of concrete that says, this is basically what every council will understand and how you should sort of react and what rule you should follow. When you tell us, when you make a policy and you say, here's a range, you can do this, be in between that, I think it's it doesn't really tell you where you should be. And that's probably one of the issues that I'm having with the range. It was stated that our bottoms could be like the 17% and then move up to review anything over 21, but then have a range to 25. But I'm not exactly sure how that would equate into a policy.
Well, basically, like you said, instead of, so let's say you had 17% is the minimum, that's obvious. You would say your goal is 20 or 21%. That's sort of what your hopeful minimum is. And then if you add up to 25%, you're not triggered to have to move anything out of there, but you're welcome to do it in a budget. Early times use it down to the 20, to kind of the optimal 20%. And then I would assume it would be written as anything over 25% would trigger an automatic review. You would just choose whether to do the review between 20 and 25% if you wanted. Is that, if I may, I believe that's.
Because I feel comfortable with the policy that we have now, because it's basically saying anything over 20, we're going to review, and we can decide how we're going to either spend it or save it or put it into an earmark or something of that nature. Because the 25 that the credit agencies want also includes all the CIPs that we have funded as well. So that would, if they came in and looked, they would see all the money over there as well as our fund balance, and we would probably always be with over the 25, I would say, at least having the 20%. I wouldn't have an issue keeping the policy that we have and changing the 20 up to a 21%. That is something I could be flexible on, moving that. I'm not exactly sure if I want to put into a policy and having a range up to 25, because I'm not even sure what that means, and I don't know if anybody else would truly understand what that meant. Just saying having a range.
I do think it's not easily understood by the public. Again, though, the range does not affect, these earmarks tonight. That has no
Right.
bearing on it, so just to make that clear.
That's absolutely correct. But I would be willing to change and the 20 up to 21.
And just a reminder that with a major change, it has to go through a committee, so you'd have to either send it back or suspend the rules to change it.
So, all right, any more? Counselor Gieske?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do want to remind my colleagues that this amendment does come back. It could possibly come back to ACAL, and I hope we have a future discussion on this further. A question to Counselor McBride through the mayor. In your range, what would, because right now the current policy states that, we have discussions if it's above over 20%. So if we had a range, where would the council have discussions when it comes to the general fund?
In the GFO, they recommend the range from 17 to 25 or whatever it may be. You would then do a target as well. That's what they're recommending. So you would have the range from, let's say, 17 to 25, and you would have a target of 21. So the council could be discussing at all times throughout the year, maintaining that target, but the 25 just gives you flexibility to not have to act upon anything that's at right now over 20 to 25.
So the target would replace the discussion in our current policy through the mayor to Councilman McBride?
Correct. And I agree, it doesn't have a lot of relevance to these three items, but I would, in terms of the fund balance policy, the target gives you flexibility, the range gives you flexibility. The target is what you would try to attain at all times. Back to Mayor Franco's, 21%, let's say.
And then, second question to the mayor, to Councilor McBride, what happens if we were to go over 25%? Or?
You would do what we're doing now when it's over 20%. You would act, or you would meet, and you would discuss what to do over that 25%. You're just increasing, right now it's 20%, we have to act. You would increase, you would have to act at the 25% level versus the 20% level. That's what I'm saying, it increases flexibility, because you don't have to act between 20 and 25.
Good, Mayor.
Yes.
You don't actually have to act currently. It's just, once a year, you just take a look at it. You could leave all the money in there. It's not required to move the money out of there. So it doesn't increase flexibility. I'd say if anything, moving it to 21% is a potential, but I don't mind the range either, but it doesn't actually increase flexibility.
To be continued, hopefully. I yield back.
As, let me just. Counselor Pacino, please, your turn. You had your hand up.
Thank you,
I'm
Madam
sorry,
Mayor.
I'm just noticing there was something in here that's missing, so go ahead,
Thank you,
from our
Madam Mayor.
meeting.
So the top of the range, no matter where it is, I believe, we're talking about it triggering a review.
Once a year review after audit,
And
yes,
it's just a review.
yes.
It's not a stopping point, it's just a review. So if we have our review at 20 or 21%, that doesn't mean we can't have 25% in the fund. It doesn't mean we can't have 100% in the fund. There is no limit what we can have in a fund.
Correct.
So we're only just pausing at 20 or 21% right now to review. That's all we're doing. Okay. I don't have to break out any pens or anything like that, right?
No.
You good with this? Okay.
I'd like to see it again.
No. It was pretty comical when I watched it, too.
I don't want to see it again.
So, in the night that this motion was made by Counselor Parker, and this is important to have in this resolution, Counselor Parker said that this would come back to the council to review the remaining amounts at a date the mayor sets. Now, that is important because in our council rules, you will need 6 people to do that if we decide this tonight and it's not already mentioned in here. So that has to be part of this. Counselor
Point of
Parker?
I did say the mayor and the town manager.
Yes, you did. Mayor and town manager would have to put this on for agenda. And if it's not in our resolution, we have to take a vote of 6 people to be able to bring this back. So it was supposed to be part of the resolution.
Well, it's a
our
little different
rules.
with money, though, unless you, it's a little different with the money. You don't necessarily do that if unless you're coming back to the same request, now it's reduced. I don't see it as being absolutely, it's not quite how we see other things, but it's put in there just in case, I'd say.
I would just like to have it because if we vote on it tonight, that means we have the approval to bring it back to the council now and will
More
not have to be
clear.
done with 6 people later, just due to how our rules are set up.
Think of it like ARPA, you didn't need 6 to bring it back, even, you can bring it back as much as you want to dwindle the money, even if one motion fails. So, but it's better to have it for clarity.
Because the way I interpreted it was to bring it back to the council to complete what was the remaining money. Because once this passes, if the other parts of this would be changed, you will need 6 people to change what's on this paper, to bring it back to the council.
If you take money back, possibly.
Well, what I mean, if we want to change the 17 or the 20, the policy itself would have to come back with 6 people.
That's true with the policy. I was thinking numbers. Yeah, you don't
Right.
with the numbers, but you do with the policy.
With the policy, but to complete the review of the remaining money, that's what's left, and that's what's supposed to come to the agenda, not this.
Correct,
Policy.
right, right.
So I don't know exactly how, so that's why I have a concern that that's not written in there.
That wasn't in the official motion, it was just said, as far as I remember. Was it
She made an
motion?
amended
I made an
motion,
amended
Okay,
and
motion.
she
missed that.
specifically said it. So I
Well,
don't-
then you just update this to reflect. If it was in that motion, you just already went through it.
It was in a motion, yeah.
So just amend it.
Do you have it,
I didn't write it down.
Counselor Parker?
I said it that night.
You basically said to have it come back to the council for the remaining funds to be decided at a date.
To be determined by the mayor and town manager.
Right,
I believe that is what I said.
I believe it was.
Why don't we, point of information?
I believe.
Your question?
Or you could just leave it to the town manager to, like, the videos there, you can find it, and then just have it, we can have it adjust to whatever it needs to be, or-
Mr. Bird, are you looking it up on the
Yeah, I'm
video?
trying to see if I can find
Well,
it.
you know what, it's 7:48, why don't we just take a little recess, and we can look it up, and we can get this, because I do think the wording on this is important on how we move forward. All right, so it's 7:48, we'll come back in about, or 7:49, we'll come back in about 10 minutes. Okay, we're back from recess. It's 8:07, and we have reviewed the video. And there was the motion that was made, the amended motion that was made. And you would like, I would make an amended motion to what's on the floor to be in line with what was passed at the cow, correct?
Correct. Is that, am I hearing a little? Okay. I'd like to amend the motion to add the following: and for the rest of the money to be discussed at a future date set by the mayor and the town manager for further discussion on the agenda. I so move.
Second.
Amended by Parker, seconded by Gieske. Okay, Counselor Gieske?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question on procedure. I'm just going to use my time because it's easier. Through the mayor to the manager, or if the mayor can answer it, if we were to vote on this as currently amended, could we discuss changing the policy range at that later meeting, or no?
What would be, at the next meeting, the way it was presented at the cow, was that we were setting the policy along with these items to be put into like an earmark. And what would come back to us is the remaining dollar amounts in the fund balance over the 20%, to see if we would like to earmark them.
Okay. So,
And let me finish.
Yep, you're good.
If we would like to see, if the policy, if anybody would like to change the policy, that would have to come back to the council, and we would need 6 counselors to vote in favor of bringing it back to the agenda.
and then could I amend the amendment to include that in the next meeting, or is that not allowed?
You'd have to suspend the rules, have 6 votes. So that wasn't passed at the cow.
Okay.
And the reason this amendment is being put in is because that's what was
Yeah,
passed at the
yep.
cow.
Okay, that was it. I yield back.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other hands. So we will take a vote on the amended motion as stated by Counselor Parker on 2024-876 General Fund Balance Resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. All right, now we will vote on the amended motion along with the main motion. All together on 2024-876-2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8-0. Up next is 2024-877-2, Sutton Park renovations. Up next is Counselor Pacino. And this is on page 33.
33. Item 2024-877, Sutton Park renovations resolution. Recommended motion, resolution approving additional funds for the renovations to Sutton Park. Whereas the town council has set a goal to complete the needed improvements to Sutton Park, and whereas the estimated cost of completion to Sutton Park renovations is $1,715,133, and whereas the town wishes to expend American Rescue Plan Act funds and general fund balance to complete the Sutton Park project, now therefore be it. Now therefore be it. Resolved that the town council approves the appropriation of $1,715,133 for the completion of the Sutton Park renovation project, with $242,246 of the cost coming from the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and the remaining $1,472,877 from the,
887?
oh, gee, that was dyslexic. Yes, $1,472,000 in, oh my goodness, just give me a second here. And the remaining $1,472,887 from the general fund balance, and to refer the matter to the RTM per Rule 853.
6.5.3.
Oh, my goodness. Rule 653.
Second.
Moved by Pacino, seconded by Ross. Counselor McBride?
Thank you. Maybe this is just a point of clarification. The last general fund balance resolution that we just passed makes the following transfer of funds to the town's capital reserve fund. So I'm wondering if this should be changed to the 1.472887 from the town's capital reserve fund, not general fund balance. Because we did transfer it from the fund balance to the capital reserve fund, so if the money's sitting there now, I'm thinking this should be from the capital reserve fund.
I think that's a good point, it's probably cleaner.
So do I propose an amendment for that? I'd like to propose an amendment to change the wording in the last sentence from the general fund balance to from the town's capital reserve fund.
Second, Bordelon?
Just to point out, this was the language of the motion that passed, but it's better to be clear, I think.
All right, there is an amended motion by McBride, seconded by Bordelon, replacing capital reserve fund from the Groton instead of the general fund balance. Seeing no hands. Let's complete Sutton Park. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8 to 0 to 0. And now for the main motion with the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Sutton Park has passed 8 to 0 to 0.
Motion adjourned?
Second.
Motion by Bordelon. Seconded by Parker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 8 to 0 to 0.
Go vote.
Time.
8:15 PM.
Thank you.